Hey everybody, this is Doug Kenny from Stories from Motorsports, and this is my co-host for the day, Josh Mabe, and we have Trans Am competitor Cameron Parsons with us. How you doing, man?
Yeah, doing well. Thanks for having me on here.
No problem.
Doing good. Doing good. It's my 25th birthday today.
Yep, happy birthday.
Oh,
Glad to hear
awesome.
that.
Happy birthday.
Halfway to 50.
Wait till you get to 26 in a couple weeks like me.
Oh, you got one coming up too. Nice.
Yeah, he and I share a lot in common, so yeah. So, Cameron, where are you at the moment?
I'm at home right now in Hanford, California. So we got a heat wave coming through here in the Central Valley. So it's like 106 degrees outside, something like that.
What's it like over in the eastern part, Josh?
It's pretty nice out today. It's a little rainy, but it's still gonna. It's been kind of hot. It's been really hot the last couple of days.
Yeah, I have a bottle of water next to me since I'm in Arizona.
Yeah, but it's really hot out there.
Yeah. So, Cameron, where are you originally from?
I actually was born up in Oregon, but I have spent most of my life in here in Hanford. It's a small bout down in Southern California and Orange County, but yeah, ended up moving back here. My wife and I came here actually just a couple of years ago. Kind of close to family and all that, but also pretty central to lots of the racetracks that I run at. And out here in Hanford, it's all kind of cheaper farmland. It's a little rural than some areas, so it kind of enabled me to have a shop and store the trailer and everything just in the backyard. So yeah, it was a family move, but it was also kind of a racing move to be out here. So this is where I spent a lot of my life and where I spend lots of my time now.
Yeah, you got to remember that, California drivers were pretty rare back in the 80s. You had Ruttman and Robbie Gordon and a lot of other names that sort of struggled to find their footing in the sport, but over time it's gotten better.
Yeah, and it's gotten better. It's still not uncommon for some drivers to make the leap over to the East Coast just for some proximity. But you're right, it is nice to see kind of some expansion or interest in motorsports kind of grow out here out west.
Yeah. What was your upbringing like?
I think it was always a car family. That's for sure. My grandfather was just into cars, mechanics. So that kind of got passed down to my dad and his three brothers. And so I grew up, like I said, out here in Hanford. It's more farm town, rural areas. So lots of DIY projects and everything. So I think the car and racing bug kind of kicked off early. I was a collector of Matchbox and Hot Wheels cars since I was real little. So, I mean, I've got plenty of other interests that came up through music, nerdy things, computer gaming, and all that stuff. But cars has always been kind of like a constant ever since I grew up. So I've got all those childhood experiences of holding flashlight for dad while he's working on the car, and so a lot of that is just somehow kind of passed down to me, and I caught the bug, and that's it's kind of just a natural evolution to what I do now.
Yeah. Want to hear how I got into the sport?
Yeah, what's the story?
The story was, for one, my grandfather worked at Napa and attended two Indianapolis 500s. He attended the 1973 tragic one. Wasn't sure if he wanted to come back after that. But then he came back in 1977 and saw his hero, AJ Foyt, win his fourth 500. That
Very
was a
cool.
big event. But yeah, I wasn't fully into the sport, however, until July 2007 when it piqued my interest. And I saw in the newspaper Jamie McMurray and after his Pepsi 400 victory against Kyle Busch in a photo finish. And once I saw who it was that won, I was quite intrigued. And then the same guy, Jamie McMurray, went on to win at Talladega a few years later, and then the Daytona 500 in 2010, and Jamie became my hero really quickly. And then 2011 and onward was when I was loyal and devoted to the sport.
Oh, that's
So yeah,
cool.
that's what got me into it, and now I'm into the sports cars and GT cars and Indy cars and all that stuff. So that's how I got into it.
Nice. It's a really cool time to be a fan for lots of that stuff too. I mean, every era has its special cars, unique, cool, interesting drivers to follow. But like in the last 10 or 20 years, racing as a spectator and a fan, I think has gotten to be so accessible. With every driver having a social media account to follow, or how closely we can follow the news and see the rule changes and developments, all this stuff is kind of front and center for us to see. So yeah, I think you coming up in the 2000s and 20 teens is an awesome time to become a fan or a hardcore fan in this kind of stuff, just with all the information we've got access to for it. So that's cool.
Yeah. So Josh, how'd you get into the sport? Tell him a bit about that.
Yeah, so it was 2007, and I was at my grandmother's house, and we were flipping. She had an antenna TV, just the local channels, and we started flipping through the different channels, and we found the 2007 Daytona 500 on Fox. And at the time when I was younger, I was really into like Frosted Flakes cereal and went to the Kellogg's Museum and stuff like that. And so we take note of the number 5 Kellogg's car driven by Kyle Busch at the time. And then that's when he wrecked out early that day. But yeah, to 2008 when Busch moved to the 18 car, I just became a big Kyle Busch fan. And in 2009, I went to my first race, the Daytona 500.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. I love the sponsor mention because it's just like nothing wins people over like a good livery or like the right sponsor at the right time.
Sponsor, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the same with me because Jamie McMurray was sponsored by Bass Pro Shops, and I always went there for my fishing gear growing up.
Oh, there you go. That's perfect.
Yeah. So Josh, fire away. Ask some questions to him.
Cameron, who is your biggest hero? It could be in racing or in your personal life.
Oh man, yeah, a big one just ever since I was young was definitely Alex Zanardi.
Yeah,
And even just coming up over the years, just more so and more so. I mean, the guy's just such a legend behind the wheel. He accomplished so much. But what's funny is what really kicked it off was because I was a kid when he was seeing some real successes kicking off when he was driving the Target cars. And as a kid, the thing I loved about him was just every time he won, which was frequent, he would do donuts after a race, which that just caught my eye. I just thought that was awesome. But over the years, started to learn more about him, his personality. He just won me over more and more. And then, of course, that big accident that cost him his legs, and seeing his recovery from that, how he approached coming out of that and approached life afterward, was just crazy inspirational. So the guy is, such a legend on track, but also, just heroic personality and in his outlook on life and his mindset to how he just approaches things. So yeah, just hands down Zanardi for me.
All right. When did you win your first championship?
When did I win my first?
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be back in the go-kart days. I want to say, oh man, it was I'm too old now. That was a long time ago. I think it was the junior sportsman class, racing go-karts. I want to say that was like my second or third year ever. It was like the year 2000, 2001 or something like that. I think the main one that probably stands out to me, the earliest one that stands out to me would be back in I should get better at dates. I think it was 2009 or 2010, racing the back then it was called the Formula Mazda Challenge, now Formula Car Challenge, racing open wheel cars here on the West Coast in a Formula Mazda. So that was, I think, my second year ever in a full season championship in a car after doing go-karts. And so it was one of those things where it's just like, man, all that work, the years of karting, learning new stuff. I mean, my family was all car people, but we weren't racing people. So we had a lot of learning to do over that time. So all the learning and figuring out that we had to do, culminating to this first championship in the open wheel car. Yeah, that was my big one.
So what did you do to celebrate that championship?
Oh, Something like that. I think it was probably just like recovery and sleep for a week. It's,
I usually pick one day a week that I'm off work and just sleep the whole day. So
you got to, man. It's yeah, it's so much work. And lots of times when people see what's on social media or what people see on TV is the highlights reel, but they don't see a lot of the actual work that goes behind it. And we like to post the fun work or the cool work that we do, but they don't see the spreadsheets, they don't see the boring meetings, they don't see the cost analyses, the many broken parts or screw ups that we made. And so after you complete a whole season, whatever it is, 8 to 12 races, whatever you're racing, like for me at least, after a season is done, it's just like, okay, I need a rest for a little bit and then just move right on into what I'm doing next year.